Okay, we're all set.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to officially call this meeting of the Mayor and Council to order. I would ask everyone to please rise for a moment of silent prayer and/or reflection as we think about the senseless murders that recently occurred in Atlanta, as well as the senseless hate that's been happening against Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. Please salute the flag.
Allegiance to
To the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic
for which it
which
stands,
it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
liberty,
with
liberty
and
and
justice
justice
for all.
Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend any meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this act, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of New Milford have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall, and notices have been sent to the record in the Ridgewood News. The mission of this governing body is to provide essential services through the establishment and implementation of public policy that will safeguard the infrastructure, provide fair, honest, courteous, and professional services, establish a sense of trust and accomplishment between all residents, and through research and prudent planning, seek to minimize risk while improving our services. We are sensitive to the needs and satisfaction of our taxpayers, while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people within the revenue constraints imposed by state mandates, economic conditions, and prevailing attitudes about taxation. Being that this meeting is once again being held remote, I need to read the following. All participants are muted during the meeting. Anyone wishing to make a comment or ask questions can do so at such time as the meeting is open to the public for comment and during public hearings on any ordinances by hitting the button to raise your hand or by typing a message in the chat box. You will need to state your name and address for the record. Members of the public may also submit written comments for any future remote meetings by either email to cdemers@newmilfordborough.com or a written letter to the Borough Clerk. Written comments must be received by 4 p.m. on the day of the remote meeting in order to be read into the record during the meeting. Members of the public commenting during a remote meeting shall not act in any manner to disrupt the meeting. If anyone becomes disruptive during the meeting, they will be muted. If time permits, the disruptive individual shall be allowed to speak after all other members of the public are provided an opportunity to comment. Any continued disruption may result in the member being prevented from speaking during the remainder of this meeting. Disruptive conduct includes, but is not limited to, shouting, interruption, and the use of profanity. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilman Siraki Hurley.
Present.
Councilman Seymour.
Present.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Here.
Councilman Grotzky.
Here.
Councilwoman Sandhusen.
present,
Council President Grant.
Here.
Mayor Petrino.
Here. Okay. And let the record reflect that we have the Borough Auditor, Steve Wilcox, with us tonight. Hello, Steve.
Good
evening,
evening,
Steve.
sir.
Hi, Steve.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to at least see everybody on the screen.
Yes,
Someday it'll be in person, soon.
someday.
Looking
Let's
forward
hope.
to it.
So the first thing we need to do is, may I get a motion to file committee reports with the Borough Clerk?
So moved.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Okay. Under unfinished business, I need a motion for the approval of the minutes from the March 8th, 2021 work and closed session meetings.
Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Any opposed? Under new business, we have an ordinance introduction, 2021:04. And when the clerk has a chance, I would ask her to read the ordinance.
Calendar year 2021 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank.
This ordinance, we adopt this annually. It establishes a cap bank, provides us with sort of like a range, a safety net for our budgeting over the next 2 years. So may I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Motion.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilman Siraki Hurley,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy,
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandhusen,
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
Okay, we will have a public hearing on this ordinance at our April 26th meeting. Okay. 2020:106 is introduction of the 2021 municipal budget. And we're gonna pass it off to Mr. Wilcox to talk about it.
Thank you, Mayor. If I might, just for the record, on the cap rate ordinance, what you're doing is you're preserving $1.6 million of cap space that you're not using and haven't used. By virtue of this ordinance, it carries over to next year's budget, so that if, God forbid, something extraordinary had happened and you needed more ability for appropriations within the spending limit, you've got that money banked. And that's a good thing, obviously. What I'd like to start with before we get into the budget is I'd like to just for a couple of seconds talk about, we're having a bond sale on Thursday. We're taking all of the short-term notes that the borough has gone out for a multitude of capital projects over the last 5 or 6 years, and we're going out and taking bids to fix them long-term. In conjunction with that, we had a conference call a couple of weeks ago with Moody's Investor Services, who assigned the borough a rating. They assigned a rating of AA2, which is the third highest rating that you can get. It's AAA, which the county is. It's AA1, which there's a few towns in Bergen County that have that. And there's AA2. And I just, for the record, wanted to read a couple of little excerpts from the report because I think it's important that the public know what this third party rating agency thinks of the borough and of the governing body and of the way that you approach your budget and your finances. And this is a quote from their press release. The AA2 rating reflects the borough's strong governance. That's you guys, which is a key driver of this rating. Management has a history of conservative budgeting as seen in its recent strong financial performance. It goes on to say in the actual credit opinion, one of your credit strengths is healthy finances. It also talks about the borough's financial position will remain strong in the medium term as management continues to budget conservatively. And lastly, I'd just like to refer to, there's a scorecard that's part of the rating, and there's actually 3 separate issues where the borough gets a AAA rating. That is the town's median family income, a direct relation to the budget and to your finances, fund balance as a percent of revenues is AAA, and your cash balance as a percentage of revenues as well is AAA. So in the scorecard, you've actually rated out as a AAA in 3 specific areas, again, which you know, it's a glowing recommendation to this governing body under the leadership of the mayor on how you, as a governing body, have approached the municipal budget, the accumulation of fund balance, the utilization of fund balance, and the regeneration of fund balance from budget year to year to year. And I think that's this is a very, very favorable report. And certainly on Thursday, when we go out and take bids, we will do very well based on whatever the market is come Thursday. So a little long-winded, but I thought it was important that the public, this get on the record, certainly that all the council members, get a little flavor of this. This is what happens when you do the right thing. Is that an independent third-party agency that does this for a living, rates governments for a living, says really nice things about you because you continue just to do the right thing when it comes to the budget and finances and taxes. And I think the residents should be very appreciative of the way this governing body carries itself. Now, having said that, the 2021 budget. 2020 was a heck of a year, but you came through it. We regenerated most of the surplus that we used in the 2020 budget. You have a budget to introduce tonight where the spending increase is 0.82%, less than 1% over the 2021 budget, a total of $182,177. And that is specifically pensions, insurance, and the BCOA sewer bill are the drivers in the increases. And I think this is an important point that all the other expenses in the budget, administrative expenses, recreation, health, all the different pieces of the budget are $33,000 less than last year. So once again, controlling the budget, monitoring, controlling spending. Obviously, these are things, the state pension bill, insurance, health benefits, and the BCOA sewer bill are things that we get a bill and we have to pay it. We have no control over those third-party entities. So, and everybody, of course, is always interested in what's that do to the tax impact. The average residential assessed home, which is for this year, $329,799. The tax increase is $69 for municipal purposes. So a little over $5 a month. And I will say, during the pandemic, we had some issues with revenues. You have a resolution on to do the 3-year average that's being allowed by the state for these certain COVID affected revenues, and they are the court, the rec fees, and recycling fees. Also, there's a possibility, the new COVID relief package that was passed by the Congress, passed by the Senate, signed by the president. There's money allocated for every municipality in New Jersey and every municipality across the country. I don't know exactly what your number is, but whatever that total is, you're getting 50% of it this year and 50% of it next year. One thing that'll do is we did a very small special emergency last year for loss in revenue. That money will pay that off first and foremost. That's going to be a requirement from the state. So that special emergency, which is for 5 years, that would, by law, was going to start in 2022's budget, will get fully funded by this new COVID relief money. To the extent there's any money left over of your first 50%, we can take a look at revenue losses, again, from what we collected in 19 versus what we collected in 20. We're still in I'd say the infancy stage of how the state is going to deal with this. And I've had some conversations off the record about how we're going to be able to deal with this, but it may be that when we have the hearing on the budget in April, we may decide to not adopt the budget and hold it over maybe till May's meeting. So if there's a way we can get some additional revenue in the budget and further buy down that $69 tax increase, that's certainly something that we'll have a conversation about. So with that, I would be happy to take any questions from the council or the mayor. This is all good stuff. We came out of the pandemic, at least on the government level, on the budget level, in pretty good shape. And again, go back to what Moody said, go back to what we've been doing over the last number of years when it comes to the budget and it comes to surplus. People ask over the years, and unfortunately, I've been doing this a long time. You always get the question, wow, you've got 2 million, 3 million in surplus. How much is enough? And there was never an easy answer. But now the answer is you never have enough. It's never enough. By virtue of having those cash reserves carried over in 2020, you were able to deal with slower tax collections, slower, or in some cases, almost non-existent revenue collections because you didn't have programs. The court was closed. But you were able to deal with it in-house yourself with your own money and not have to go out and borrow tax anticipation notes like some other municipalities across the state had to do in order to make payroll. So again, the new answer is it's never enough.
I agree.
Anybody ever asked you that question? Why do you have so much surplus? Or, why? Well, this is why. We had a pandemic. We got through it without really any negative impact so far on the budget, which by virtue of that, to the taxpayers in the community. That's something that's very good to be able to say.
I remember on the Moody's call a couple of weeks ago how impressed they were when they were going through all of our numbers with COVID. They were super impressed how well we handled it, how our spending was, like how it wasn't as much what we spent it on, how we were aggressively seeking reimbursements. I think all of that, and you mentioned that it's us that does this, but I will give credit to the council, and I will also give credit to our professionals, you, Diana McLeod, Steve Rogert. Together, we are always conscious of the taxpayer and always working to be responsible, and we do that together. So I want to thank you for that as well. Anyone else have comments or questions about the municipal budget? Good job to the budget committee and Chris. I know you guys worked tons on this, all remote, so I know it wasn't easy.
And remember, your finance chair is he's a little squeaky.
I definitely want to give special thanks to Chris, to you,
Who's
and to
that?
Diane. You guys really worked very hard on that. Thank you.
Great team.
They're a tough group, I'll tell you.
I agree.
Tough group.
I really still not happy with the BCOA increase at the last minute, but what are you going to do?
It doesn't feel any better, but you're not the only one.
I know, and I'm sure someone has gotten, larger increases, but it was just.
And again, you have no option.
Right.
What are you going to do with your sewage?
Right.
It's the only show in town. It's not like you can go out and shop it.
No.
And listen, I'm sure that they've had their challenges during the pandemic as well. So again, we're able, you know what? Because we're in the position we're in, it's an $82,000 increase from last year, but we're able to deal with it and still come up with what I believe is an incremental increase to municipal taxes based on things that this governing body as a whole really has no control over. The places where you control, your salaries are $17,000 less than they were last year. That's not many people can say that. And again, all your other departments down over 33,000 from last year, which is also a credit to, Chris is pretty cheap too. She really doesn't like spending. She really doesn't like spending.
Yes.
Which is
this is definitely definitely another responsible budget.
I would call Chris careful rather than cheap.
Frugal.
frugal.
How about just be responsible? How about responsible?
I'm getting older, and sometimes the magic words don't come to the front as quickly. They say the short-term memory is the first thing to go.
First to go. Yes.
I'm in trouble.
Well, if there are no further questions on it, I will ask for a motion to introduce the 2021 municipal budget.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Yes.
Councilman Seymour.
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky.
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandhusen.
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
And we're adopting this. Is this going to be on the 26th as well?
As of right now, it's for adoption on the 26th.
You'll
yes.
have the public hearing at least again, as more guidance comes out from the state on
Right.
this new COVID-19 money that you're getting. If there's an ability to, maybe adjust the budget a little bit and bring down the tax increase, I don't think there's anybody that would be terribly opposed to that.
No. We would welcome that.
Right. So again, we'll have the hearing on the 26th. We may just carry the budget to the next public meeting. If like, we have the ability, we have the ability to do that. I know for a fact that the county is not going to be introducing their budget because they're doing the same thing. They're waiting to see, because they're getting a lot more money than you're getting. How that can be utilized to the benefit of all the taxpayers of Bergen County. So the issue of rushing to get the budget adopted, to get it, released to the tax board, to get a tax rate, we're in no hurry.
Right.
So my opinion is that if we need to take another month or 6 weeks or what have you to see how all this new money kind of unfolds and how we can use it, and if we can get a benefit, because once we adopt the budget, we then prevent ourselves from having any benefit in this year's budget.
We close the door. Correct.
Right. And I don't think, since we're not under a rush or under a real deadline, I think it might behoove us to have the hearing and hold it, see what we can do with the money, and maybe we can make it a little bit better for the average taxpayer.
Okay. Sounds like a good plan.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Steve.
Yes, thank you.
Again,
Thank you.
we're a team. Nobody does this alone.
No.
That's right.
Thank you very much for all your hard work.
You're more than welcome to hang out for the next hour or so with us.
My understanding is dinner's served in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Once again, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Very, very nice to see everybody.
Same here. Good to see you.
Same.
You too.
Be
Take it
safe
easy,
and
Steve.
be safe and be healthy, and we'll reconvene in a month.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Everybody, take care.
Bye.
Take care.
Okay, we have one more ordinance introduction tonight, and that would be 2021:5. And when the clerk has a chance, I'd ask her to please read it.
Yes, an ordinance to amend Chapter 30, Article 4, Section 30-20.6 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of New Milford, entitled Prohibited Uses, to prohibit the operation of any class of cannabis business within its geographical boundaries.
Okay, as everyone is aware, we had a previous ordinance on the books that was similar to this, but as the referendum passed and the law changed in New Jersey, that ordinance became null and void. So every municipality has 180 days to opt out of this, which we are introducing tonight. When you opt out, you can opt in at any time. If you do not do this in 180 days, you are locked in and opted in for 5 years, and then you can opt out. So I think our position is that we do not want to be the test case. Everything I've read so far, it does not seem like there is no economic windfall for boroughs for allowing this. Also, the size and makeup of our borough makes it very difficult to have these things in our borough, so close to residential zones and school zones. But if that changes in the future, this governing body or a future governing body will have the ability to opt in and have it in the borough. So right now, I would ask for a motion to introduce this ordinance on the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilman Siraki Hurley,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy,
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandhusen,
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
Okay. The public hearing on this ordinance will be at our April 12th meeting. Well, that's it for ordinances. As we move down, the first item in new is going to be outdoor dining permits, and that would be Mr. Kevin Kelly.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. With regard to the outdoor dining permit, you're all aware, and for the members of the public that may not be aware, the borough during COVID, in accordance with, I believe, is Executive Order 150, which seems years ago, but it was actually several months ago, when outdoor dining was permitted. The borough, as part of our emergency declarations, and as part of the borough resolutions, we adopted via a resolution a permit process where restaurants could engage in outdoor dining, and you've seen the tents around town. That has now been codified by virtue of statute. The legislature at the end of February passed a statute that has basically set the parameters for restaurants to provide them with COVID relief to engage in outdoor dining. What's a little different than what we had previously on the books, or previously put on our books and permitted, is the legislature has authorized the use of sidewalks as well. In addition, we had previously only done it on private property, usually the parking lots abutting the facility. The legislature determined that not all businesses can do that, so they gave the opportunity to go on the parking lot. I had circulated a memo, and I'm just actually looking for it right now. Forgive me. I have so many things open on my screen that it becomes a bit of a challenge. It used to be easy when you had paper in front of you.
It was March 17th.
Okay. Date modified. And an appropriate date for outdoor dining and consumption of alcohol, I suppose. Actually, I think it went to March 22nd because we were still working on it. But effectively, what we had in our permit system complies with the legislature's law that the governor signed into law. It's Public Law 2021, Chapter 15. There's a couple of differences. Our hours of operation are not going to be changed. They define outdoor space and sidewalk space as two different types of areas where you'll permit outdoor dining, but ultimately you have the same process. It's an application process. The business has to provide a sketch or plan similar to what we were doing before, showing the tent, the canopies, umbrellas, chairs, that sort of thing. They have to have a litter control plan. They have to get consent of the owners, which was consistent with what we had in our procedures. Something which I think is important and quite frankly protects the borough. Even on private property, they have to provide an insurance certificate naming the municipality as an additional insured with a general liability policy and an indemnification agreement. The rules regarding the extension of the liquor licenses are codified into this and adopted by reference. So the ABC is still extending this. And the tents that are put up cannot encumber more than 75% of the parking lot and the parking lot situation total area for service. So what I did in anticipation of this is I revised our application, submitted it to Chris after consulting with Chief Clancy, Mr. Coughlin, the risk manager, Chris, and myself, just in terms of the procedures. There's
Kevin, because the zoning officer is now involved.
Oh, forgive me. And that is the other change. For some reason, and I think it came out during the evolution of the statute, because they had initially looked at it as a zoning application, but that came out of the final draft. But the application itself, instead of going to Chris, still goes to the borough, but it's going to go to the zoning officer instead. And he was also in on the call, so that Mr. Cahill would know the procedures that we would need to follow. We prepared a checklist, and I believe Chris has now circulated it out to all of the restaurants that have been engaging in outdoor dining. And it's also available for any other that may want to do so in the future on a sidewalk or something to that effect. So the ultimate decision-making process is still within the governing body's purview. So if there is an issue to revoke, they have set forth a procedure for doing so. They've also given time deadlines for the turnaround of the permit applications. But I mean, we don't have, I think we have 5. So it's not like there's many restaurants here, and we've turned everything around very quickly because we've been trying to be supportive of the businesses. But there is a process where if complaints can come in, we can put them on notice for possible revocation or suspension. And then it would be appealable to the courts after that. The municipality is again permitted to prohibit musical performances or recording or streaming of live music or recorded music. We've maintained that based upon the council's review of the last application. So that's still consistent. And other than that, it should be relatively similar. I don't really foresee any problems with it. I think it's good because it's codified into law. We had always done it as a resolution. I don't know if it should have risen to the level of having an ordinance do it. But quite frankly, at the time, we're in the height of the pandemic, just trying to get businesses reopened. So we're focused on that. But this takes any question as to whether that was an appropriate way to go off the table. And it lasts until a date certain, which I believe is the end of 2022, or until the governor orders that restaurants can go back to full capacity. And then the law will expire and these permits will not have any authority. So there is an end to it. It's basically for the lifespan of the pandemic, which they anticipate, I guess, at the end of next year is more likely, or when the governor lifts it, whichever comes first.
Just so there's no confusion, even with the new permits, restaurants are still not allowed to exceed their total capacity.
No, even with the new permits, that has not been preempted by the state statute, and they have a capacity. So as their outdoor capacity has gone up, their indoor capacity was non-existent at the beginning because they couldn't go indoors. As that has increased from 25 to 35% now to 50%, the outdoor capacity has come down, and Chris has notified the restaurants of that and done the calculation based upon their total capacity load. And that even has applied to the Elks. They had a outdoor dining application because they were serving alcohol outdoors when they couldn't be inside. So I don't know of any of the other social clubs having this, but so they really don't have the capacity for the most part. So that said, if there are any questions, I'm here to answer them. We have already revised the permit application. So it's consistent and it's already been generated and sent out to all the businesses.
And it's posted on the website.
I'm sorry, can you say that again, Chris?
I said, and it's posted on the
Oh.
website for anybody who wasn't already taking advantage of outdoor dining.
Excellent. Does anyone have anything else on outdoor dining for Mr. Kelly?
Hopefully we don't have to do it much longer. Although it is kind of nice.
I was just gonna say that. It's kind of nice.
Okay, it's nice when it's an option, but not when it's, all that's
Necessity.
available. Yeah, exactly. Okay, Mr. Kelly, you're still up. Number 2, Barrel and Brew, place-to-place transfer.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the
sorry.
council. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm
I
sorry.
want to point out that the license holder, Albert Torado, is present in the meeting in case there's any questions.
Oh,
Can
Hello, sir.
we possibly have Mr. Tirado be able to answer?
Yes.
Hello,
How are you tonight?
how are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us.
For having me.
Mr. Torado, do you want me also to allow Dolores Torado to speak as well?
I think Dolores was basically moving the paperwork for Mr. Tirado, but I believe he, if I've read this correctly, is and I remember from the last application where Mr. Lampe was representing him that he was the principal of the LLC. So it probably would just be Mr. Tirado. That's correct, right, Mr. Tirado? Is that my recollection correct?
Correct.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, that's correct.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you respond. Okay, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, my understanding is Mr. Tirado is expanding the license further out. As of right now, he's got the licensed premises as the bar area and the liquor store, and he also has the ability, weather permitting, obviously, during the time limits he testified to put it outside for outdoor consumption of alcohol, food coming in. And my understanding is he's now expanding it to the store next door to the liquor store, which is now vacant. He submitted an application for it with Chris and Diane. I assume Chris reviewed it, and that's in. I have checked the proofs of publication, and he has published it in 2 consecutive weeks prior in accordance with the statute. Typically, you have a hearing on this in the event of any objection. I don't know at this time if the governing body has any objection. If not, we should probably open it up to the public and we can have a full-blown hearing. And certainly if there's any questions for Mr. Tirado, we can ask him to address those. I should probably put him under oath. Mr. Tirado, do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, not that you may have to testify, you may have no questions, but that's the procedure that we should follow. So I would just ask if the governing body has any objection or questions for Mr. Tirado, and if not, see if the public does. And if there's no objection, we can put it through as an uncontested application as long as the governing body agrees.
Is there any member of the governing body that has a question or an objection?
No objection.
Uh,
I
Councilwoman Duffy.
I have no objection, but I would like to be read into the record kind of what do they say, a thumbnail sketch of what's happening there.
Mr.
So
Tirado,
maybe
you want to just give a
Mr.
summary
Sure.
of what you're doing?
Yes,
Yeah.
so as we previously had the store where the bar and the store, next to us, there was a retail space that became available, which was the massage spa, I believe it was called. So what we actually did was we expanded each location a little bit more, gave us a little more seating in the restaurant. Now it's a restaurant because we have added a kitchen, and we were able to seat more people and open the doors to the front of the restaurant. The liquor store was able to expand as well, a considerable amount. Each side a considerable amount. So that's basically what we did. We expanded each space a little bit more and added a kitchen.
So basically, it's almost like you push the whole operation north.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Closer to Roman.
Yeah.
Correct. And
Okay.
Subway.
So
Yeah.
then the package store would be in the newly vacated spa.
That's correct. And then the
Okay.
restaurant ate a piece of the of what the existing liquor store was. So that expanded into that space.
And
Okay.
Mr. Toronto,
Thank you.
just to clarify for the sake of the record, this is Barrel and Brew Bar and Liquor LLC that holds the license, correct? Even though you're the principal and it's your company, as you testified the last time, that's the licensed entity, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
So, Mr. Toronto, how many more tables have you added?
We've added, so we had 20 chairs at the bar previously, with some, with a little bit of bench seating around the bar. The general layout floor plan of the bar restaurant has changed. So along the back wall, the side wall, we've added a bench. It's about 35 feet long. You can add, we have right now about 10 tables at the along the bench of the restaurant. So on top of the 20 seating, and I'm talking about 100% capacity, not COVID without COVID restrictions. So 20 seats at the bar and 10 tables along the side of the restaurant.
Okay. Mr. Toronto, I'm looking at your diagram. I don't see those numbers represented. Is this just a sketch or is this supposed to represent the actual plan?
I believe that's just a sketch. I don't have it in front of me, but
Well, it shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. It shows 8 tables with 2 chairs each, and at the bar it shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 seats.
And then there's also 3 other tables next to the bar, if you see those with 2 seats.
Yes, there are 3 other tables next to it. Correct. So that's
Right.
not really an accurate sketch, or it's close to an accurate sketch?
it's close to it. It's not 100% as far as like where the tables are actually laid out, but what we've put is 10 tables.
And so what capacity will that bring up your diners? How many?
I'm not sure yet, and I have to meet with Alan Silverman and get those numbers.
And I'm just curious, what type of cuisine are you going to be serving?
So we're gonna do some I think a nicer type of bar food, burgers, chicken sandwiches, tacos,
Great.
stuff like that. But with, French fries, mahi burger. We're gonna be adding to the list. We have a pulled pork, grilled cheese sandwich, which sounds delicious.
Okay.
So yeah, we have some good stuff on.
Good. Great.
And then we also have a healthy alternative too. We have salad bowls and all stuff like that.
That's what I want.
I would ask for a motion to open to the public for any comments on this public hearing.
Motion.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen of the public, we are open for comments regarding this hearing with Barrel and Brew only. So if you have any questions or comments,
Or objection to
Or
the
objections.
expansion.
yes, or objections to the expansion. Now is your opportunity.
Yes, I have somebody with a question or comment. Jude, you're up. You can speak.
Oh, thanks. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Jude.
Sir, just for the
Mr.
purpose of the record, can you just give your name, your full name and your address?
Sure. Jude Daisy, 218 apartment D, Follow Drive, New Milford, New Jersey. Mr. Serrario, I believe, correct. You said it's 100 capacity. Does that sum up to does that equate the entire seating capacity itself?
I never said 100 capacity. I still am not sure what our capacity is going to be until we receive our CFO on the new space.
Correct. I brought that up because many of the residents who live by the apartments, they park overnight right in front of the Bar and Brew. And I'm concerned about parking for the residents of New Milford.
They're not supposed to park there.
Yeah, that's
I
not
know.
a public parking lot. That's private parking.
I know they're not supposed to, but they do. They do park there. Okay. No further questions.
Thank you, Jude.
I just have one more, Mr. Toronto. Do you know how many more tables you'll be adding outside?
I believe it's staying the same.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to expand it. Okay.
No, it's I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it's 10 tables outside or 10 or 8 tables outside, and that's staying the same.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't
Is
see
there
anyone,
anyone else from the public?
I don't see anybody else from the public that wants to comment.
May I get a motion to close to the public?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I just want to say that I am not opposed to this. In fact, I think it's a great idea, and I wish Mr. Toronto the best of luck. I just wish that the drawing, the diagram that he presented was accurate and actually presented what he plans to do.
Well, just in terms of the drawing, this is the liquor license is really the issue. It's a question of the concept. He's still going to be subject to building department review, his landlord's review, and if any zoning issues are triggered by his action, which I would assume at this point, and I haven't looked into the issue, but I don't think we would be at the point where he's actually constructing things if he hadn't been vetted by the building department.
That's correct. On my part, at least.
Yeah. The only issue really before the governing body is whether you consent to the concept or not.
Mr. Toronto, I think you did a fantastic job the first time you did a renovation. I think you did a great job with the outdoor dining, and we are certainly looking forward to this next phase. And we think it's great that you are expanding your business in town, and it is working. And I know it's a nice spot.
Thank you. We look forward to it.
Lots of luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Best of luck.
Kevin, is there anything we have to do?
No,
It's
there's
just,
a resolution on tonight's agenda to
Okay.
approve it.
yeah, correct. So you could just let it go on the consent agenda if there's no opposition from the governing body.
And that would be 116, 2021:116. Okay. We'll move on to item number 3.
Item 3 is still me, Mr. Mayor, and members of the
you.
council. This is a repeal of NJSA 4048 1.2, part of the cannabis legislation from the state indicated different laws would be impacted, one of which is the decriminalization of cannabis, also the effect of minors under the age of 21 using cannabis and what they can do, and the legislature and the governor ultimately in the enabling legislation for the legalization of cannabis has indicated that any ordinances passed pursuant to 4048 1.2, which also addresses underage drinking on private property and gives penalties for that, that is repealed. The borough has it on our books at in our general police ordinance. So I'm just bringing it to your attention. That's going to be coming before you, that we'll have to repeal that in the coming weeks. We have it in, and I just closed it out. I had the ordinance section, forgive me. It's the problem when you have it open too many links. It's in the general police ordinances of prohibited behavior. And I'll give you what we're going to be reviewing. It's 3, I believe, 8. Prohibit Acts 38.1, Section 24, which basically, if someone's a minor, it's unlawful in the borough for someone under the legal age to purchase alcoholic beverages or knowingly possess or consume alcohol on the public streets or on a private property. And if they do it currently, or up until the statute was adopted, it was punishable by as much as a fine of $250 and up to $350, and you could wind up with a 6-month license suspension. And the cannabis legislation has preempted that, so the borough is going to have to repeal it. It does not need to be done tonight. I recommend that you, quite frankly, get done with the opt-out first, and then we can put this through. Right now, it's not enforceable. So it's really, I don't think if a ticket was written for it, they would point to the statute and say it's preempted, and they would be right. So ultimately, you just have to clear it off the books.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, item number 4, not Kevin Kelly. Schedule updates. It's been out on Facebook, and we will continue to promote it. The Hippity Hoppity Trail, which will be on March 27th, which is a Saturday. It'll be held from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Chiquino Drive. It'll be very similar to the Halloween event we did in October. Cars will enter through Madison Avenue. Madison Avenue will be closed behind the high school. Cars will enter and go right onto Chiquino Drive. They will go through. They will see some nice decorations, Easter eggs. They will get some candy and some gifts. And at the end, they will get to see the Easter Bunny, take some pictures. And anyone who gets a special golden egg in their bag is going to get a special raffle basket. Compliments of the recreation department at the end. So we're looking forward to a very nice event. We're hoping we have great weather. And sponsors of that are Police Department, Fire Department, Ambulance Corps, Mayor and Council, and Recreation. So we thank all of them for their help and their time putting this together for the residents. Trying to do as much as we can during these COVID times and keeping everything active and people excited. So I want to thank them again, and it's going to be a great event. So we will do some more promoting of it, and we hope everyone joins us. Item number 5, COVID-19 Task Force Report. Administrator.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
The COVID-19 Task Force met on Thursday, March 18th with reports from the Police Department, Fire Department, OEM, Ambulance Corps, Health Department, Administration, DPW, Recreation, and the Board of Ed. The topics that were discussed included the vaccination site status, the reverse 911 sign-up initiative, the expansion of indoor and outdoor dining, the Hippity Hoppity drive-by on March 27th, and the anticipation of requests for permission for more events in the coming months. Our next meeting is scheduled for April 1st.
I just want to jump in about the vaccination site. I know everyone is eager to know what's going on with that. We are all set on the borough's end. We are ready to go. Every week for the past month, we've been placing orders for vaccinations through the state. So far, they have not been fulfilled. Once we know our order will be fulfilled, anyone who registered through the borough website or called the number, they will be getting an email or a telephone call for them to schedule an appointment. But once again, we cannot do that until we get vaccination. So we are crossing our fingers every day. We are going to hear something about it. So, but once we do, we are up and ready, and we'll be ready by next day to start vaccinating people. So that's the update on the vaccination site. And I know people have commented they saw the OEM tent inflated, deflated, inflated, deflated. They were purposely deflating it during the high winds we had. There's no reason to put extra wear and tear on it when we didn't have to. So we deflated it, and then it's actually back up now. So there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean the vaccination site isn't going to happen because it was deflated. So that was the deal with that. Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a short report. I want to start with by reporting on a pre-application meeting that we had with the DEP on March 11th, which was to discuss the applications for the Madison Avenue sidewalk project and the culvert project. You know, if you recall, we were attempting to schedule these meetings for the better part of the year. The timing coincided right when we were ready to request the meetings with the onset of the pandemic. And we finally were able to get this meeting put together, and in which we learned that the DEP has 20 days after the submission of the application just to determine whether or not the application is complete. And then they have another 90 days to review it. So based upon this timeline, we would not expect to have DEP permits before September. We have to create the application after having had the meeting, and they need to have the amount of time that they need to review it. So, you know, we would be going out to bid. That we have the option to go out to bid before we actually have the permit, because one of the jobs has a date by which we're supposed to award in November of 2021, but we can get an extension. And, you know, there's a risk of going out to bid during the permitting process, if dependent, you know, because we don't necessarily know what the outcome is going to be. They may require some changes. So it's not something that I would recommend, although I'm anxious to get the project started. It looks like we probably won't have plans until the fall. There were two resolutions that were circulated earlier today. One was to stop APPI hate, and the other was to appoint Robert Shuro as our building subcode official. I wanted to ask to have a motion to add those to our agenda tonight.
So moved.
May I get a
Second.
motion? Okay. Which one will be 17?
The stop APPI hate.
Okay. I had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
For
opposed?
those not familiar with the term AAPI, it's Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders.
Okay. If all goes according to plan, our online forms will be launching on the website next week. So a number of the forms that we have currently that are only available to be submitted with a paper form, either by mail or in person, can now be submitted online with a credit card. Will be able to be submitted as of next week. Anxious to see that in place.
Yes, this has been a huge undertaking, and we've been on top of it.
Yeah. And just wanted to remind everybody that the bar hall is closed on Friday, April 2nd in observance of Good Friday. And our next meeting is Monday, April 12th.
Any questions for the administrator? Okay. Resolutions. Are there any resolutions that need to be pulled out for further discussion? Okay. With that, I would ask for a motion to open to the public for public comment.
So moved.
Motion.
May I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Members of the public, now is your opportunity to speak about anything related to the Borough of New Milford. All we ask is for your name and your address, and you get 5 minutes.
Yes, I have a member who wishes to speak.
Hi, everyone. Again, it's me, Jude. To begin with, I just want to thank each and every one of you, the entire Mayor and Council governing body, as well as the Mr. Kevin as well, and Christine Demaris. Thank you so much for all the fabulous work that you do. I am so grateful to have you all. Correct me if I'm wrong. People say that the Mayor and Council is different from the Board of Education, but there's no harm trying. I'm speaking as to regards the rally that was conducted in town pertaining the one set of parents who are clamoring for a 5.5 day in a week for the elementary school students. I was just wondering what the entire Mayor and Council have done as pertaining to that in collaboration with the Board of Education.
Mr. Ease, just for the record, I know you said it before, but each time you speak, you have to just state your full name and your address.
Yes, I apologize. Should I state it one more time?
Yeah, if you can, because the tape picks it up. So
sure, I'll do it again. My name is Jude Daisy, 218 Apartment D, Fowler Drive, New Milford, New Jersey.
And I apologize for mispronouncing your name. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Should I repeat the question again?
I don't think you need to do that. I just wanted to make
Okay.
sure the record's clear.
Okay.
Well,
Actually,
the Board of Ed, I'm
ahead.
not sure who's going to respond. I was just, the Mayor and Council and the Board of Ed, which you had stated at the outset, are two separate entities. And therefore, the decisions made by the Board of Ed are independent of the Mayor and Council.
Yeah, there's nothing to collaborate on. It's outside our jurisdiction completely, or I should say the governing body's jurisdiction. So it's solely within the Board of Ed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I do not see that any other member of the public wishes to speak at this time.
Since no other member of the public is looking to speak, I would ask for a motion to close to the public.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Let's go around the squares real quick. Tonight, we're going to start with Councilman Seymour.
Not much to report this meeting. The Board of Ed met, and they're continuing to review the latest guidelines, but from the CDC and also from the State Board of Health. And they're working as quickly and as hard as they can to safely and responsibly continue to reopen our schools for live in-person instruction. Spring sports continues to, of course, as we all know, get rolled out very nicely. Everyone's excited everywhere you go in town. See people out at the parks talking about the sports coming up. Just was excited today to hear that rec spring soccer is going to start practices April 12th, games April 25th. So let's just hope we can keep things moving in a great direction. And I really just can't thank the residents of our town enough for their patience and their understanding and for coming together as a community as they have during this entire pandemic. So I want to thank everyone in the town, and Mayor, I want to thank you again for your leadership through this very challenging year.
Yeah, and I want to thank Recreation. They put a lot of time and energy to get the plan together to get sports going. I know tomorrow night I have my coaches meeting, And I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to start practices next week. So very exciting. With that, I just want to talk about the basketball courts. We know that a lot of people are congregating there. A lot of people are not wearing masks. I'm asking that people please be responsible. Please be responsible while you're using the courts. And also, the last few days, there has been litter and garbage everywhere. That is unacceptable. It should not be on the DPW every morning to pick up barrels of bottles and cans and wrappers. The borough has more than ample garbage cans and recycling cans in the area. All we ask is that you clean up your mess, do not litter. We want everyone to enjoy the parks. It's everyone's parks. Everyone's taxpayer dollars goes into those parks, and it's for everyone to enjoy. So please be respectful. Be respectful of other people. Be respectful of people with young children and families. That's all we ask, and we want you to have a good time and be responsible. So that's my little story about the basketball courts. Council President Grant, sorry.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to say something about the library. The children's library programs have been so popular that there's actually a waiting list. They had 30 programs for children in the last few months, and a total of 253 children participated with waiting lists. And I'm not sure how they're going to accommodate everybody, but they will attempt that. Also, library workers, as of April, will be included in the 1C category for vaccinations. School librarians will be in the 1B category. Everybody else, as I said, in the 1C category. The curbside pickup is going well. The library business is booming. Virtual books and audio tapes are up 133% in these last few months. So it's going well. So thank you very much. That's my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Sandhusen.
I'm going to unmute my microphone. I have a little bit to report, so I'm going to look down and refer to notes to ensure that I stay concise. So I want to start with the Environmental Commission. Save the date for the New Milford Woods dedication in honor of Earth Day. That will be April 25th. It's a Sunday. I saw that it was 1, but I think it's 1:30 p.m. So I'll have to double check on the timing because I've seen that 2 times on that printed. Their Environmental Commission has a subcommittee currently researching electric vehicle charging station installation and what all that entails. So I expect that they'll be bringing a presentation within the next month or so to the mayor and council for recommendation. They are exploring their grant opportunities as well. Let's see, and the New Milford Woods was also mentioned in the Tidelines magazine as a place. I have it right here next to me. So it was mentioned in the field notes section of the Tidelines. So it's already being recognized as a great place. So the Tidelines is a Hackensack Riverkeeper publication. So it's already being recognized as a great place to go and observe nature. Green Team, they meet the second Tuesday of every month, and they have a presence now on the borough website, so you can see their webpage. And people who are interested in learning more about what the Green Team's about, what their projects are, can go to the borough website, and they are now officially listed with the other committees and commissions. So thank you to the borough administration for the assistance in getting that published. And they are currently working on the Sustainable Jersey certification application process. Some of you may have received some emails from me. Everyone's working on getting that information on a rolling basis. So please contact me if you have any questions about anything in there. Let's see. And then part of the green team, we announced last mayor and council meeting that they had received the technical assistant, been awarded the technical assistant program. Sorry, there's a lot of acronyms and I'm trying to not speak in initials so that everyone can understand what everything is. So the technical assistant program enables the borough to do research and investigate and create a baseline information about municipal buildings and municipal fleet energy efficiency. So basically it's like we get our own personal coach from Sustainable Jersey, and we had a really great initial first meeting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what comes from that. So that initial meeting included volunteers and professionals from the borough. It was a very good meeting. Let's see, and moving on to the Bergen GIF, they're going to be sending $1,000 back to each municipality in Bergen County to use towards enhancing safety for volunteers. So that is something that is going to be coming back to the municipality. And I want to offer the friendly reminder to do your trainings, your virtual trainings. So, and a little friendly reminder. And that is my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Grotzky.
Thank you, Mayor. I have something very good to report that on March 11th, our very own police department received police agency accreditation through the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police. What this does is basically a review of best practices in policing. That's one of the main things, and there are quite a few other things regarding that. It's taken over a year to get to this place and to get the accreditation. I'd like to thank Chief Clancy. I'd like to thank Lieutenant Van Saders, because he was the one who worked diligently to put the program together. And I'd like to thank all the members of the New Milford Police Department for doing such a fine job. We have a very outstanding police department. We should all be proud of them. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I would just like to add, to put this in perspective, the first time we talked about working towards police department accreditation was in 2008. A long time coming.
Yeah, it was a tremendous job, and it is really, really an excellent achievement. It really says something about our borough.
I'd also just like to add that even going beyond the call of duty, our officers, I mean, they're a great group of men and women. They're friendly, they're social. I always see them out talking to members of the community. We're very, very fortunate as a borough to have them here.
And I'd also like to say that we thank the GIF because they did give us a $25,000 grant to assist toward working toward that accreditation.
Nice.
Yes, thank you, Jiff. Anything else, Ira?
I'm fine, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Duffy.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I have to say the highlight of the month for me was March 15th. The mayor and council gathered on the front of the Borough Hall and placed luminaries on the steps to represent the 51 fatalities that our borough suffered during the pandemic and to mark the 1 year mark of our first case. It was quite moving, and it also felt good to be together to mark this. And I think all else pales next to something like that. when we can just, show the strength of our group and the strength of our community just by a simple light, So just want to report that, and that's my report for tonight.
Thank you for bringing that up, Councilwoman Duffy. That was a very moving ceremony. In that there was no ceremony, actually.
Right.
Yeah, it was powerful. It was very powerful. And I think, I know people did go and visit it, even when we had left. I did get a number of texts and someone saying, one of those bags was my grandmother. One of those bags was my wife. So it was really touching that we did something to move people as well. And they're really appreciative that we did that, so.
Yeah.
All right, Councilman Straka Hurley, before I break down here.
Yeah, I also received a number of comments about it. Okay, just a few things. One is, as I've discussed in the past few meetings, that we have that oral history that Historic has been putting up on Facebook and on the website. And on April 9th at the gazebo at 11 o'clock, anybody who would like to come and just sit and chat and talk about the old days in New Milford, whether, well, maybe we could still have somebody from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. We are gathering there to record. You can also go on the website also and see where you can call. And we've been having in Lynn Sullivan, which is our senior director. She has put out information about this, and she's getting a few people riled up with it. So this should be fun. This should be really fun. We also just received from a resident in town, Steve Perone, as I'm sure many know, which was Peroni's Farms. His dad has CDs that his father had recorded. So that just came through yesterday. I haven't heard it yet, but that could be something that could be interesting once we figure out how we're going to work that all together. So if you want to come down on, it's April 9th, hopefully our weather will be good, at 11 at the gazebo. That was with the seniors. Lynn has been doing the Zoom exercises, and it'll be, I believe she's going to be starting the outside down by the field. What else? I think that might be it for now. Been rather quiet. One other thing, we had a meeting for events, and it was decided that we wanted to create a Facebook page, of which it's being tweaked, and we'll have a Facebook page out this way. When we do have events or memorials, such as Memorial Day, we can live stream it so everybody can feel like they are really a part of it at the same time. We'll be having a meeting and discussing the approval of it, because we have some tweaking to do right now. And that's about it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I would ask for a motion to approve resolutions 2021:107 through 2021:118.
So moved.
Second.
Make it a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be voting to go into closed session. When we come out of closed session, we will be adjourning the meeting and no formal action will be taken. Is there anything else before this council before I ask for a motion to go into close? Make it a motion to go into
So moved.
closed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. And I want to wish everyone, whoever celebrates Passover, a happy Passover and a happy upcoming Easter. Thank you very much. Be safe and enjoy the warm weather.